Letter to Mom. Chapter 5. Until we meet in memory. When I dream of home. In the quiet of the night, when the world hums a lullaby, I often find myself wandering back to a place I thought I'd long left behind. It's not just a house filled with memories, it's a feeling, a sense of belonging that dances in the corners of my mind, where shadows flicker like candlelight. Home, for me, is woven from the threads of laughter and silence, a tapestry where tenderness and distance coexist. When I dream of home, it's an imperfect masterpiece. I can see it vividly, the way light filters through the window in our living room, casting soft shapes on the carpet. Mom would be there, in her usual chair, the fabric worn as much as her laughs. She would glance over with a content spark in her eyes, as if she could read my heart like an open book. Those moments, layered with both joy and unspoken words, create a bittersweet echo that lingers long after I awaken. I think about the conversations left hanging like curtain ribbons, unraveling stories yet to be told. Did I ever tell her how much her presence anchored my restless soul? Or how her silence sometimes felt like the warmest hug I could ever ask for? I wonder if she knew the way her smile stitched together the rough patches of my life, how even in her absence, she could still hold me with her memories. It's funny how you carry someone with you, even when they seem far away. And it's in these fleeting dreams where we meet, past the veil of time and space. I can hear her voice, soft yet strong, guiding me through the tangled roots of my thoughts. There are moments of vulnerability. I feel every raw edge flaring up within me, like a dance of emotions left unexpressed. The words I never said to her hang heavy in the air, waiting for me to finally acknowledge them, to let them breathe and find their place in the sunlight. Then, there will be those moments of lightness, where laughter breaks through like raindrops on a parched day. Her unpredictable humor, a quick wit that always caught me off guard, fills the room, and I remember how it felt to let my defenses down, to simply feel her love enveloping me like a cozy blanket. A reminder that even in the unraveling of life's puzzles, there was always room for joy. If memory serves as the bridge between us, then my heart continues to ache for those conversations that never materialized. The truth is, I didn't know how to convey my gratitude, my love, my struggles, the essence of my being. I wanted to tell her how I navigated the currents of adulthood, dealing with loss, and how often I leaned on her memory when I stumbled and felt alone. I think about our shared silences, those pauses that woven into the fabric of our relationship, silences that spoke volumes, yet still flared with what was never voiced. Gradually, I learned to embrace these imperfections, those unfinished phrases that echo in my mind, stirring up a gentle flame of recognition. Maybe that's what makes our stories resonate, the pause that breathes between the notes of the human experience. Those moments when we don't have the words, but our hearts lay bare, and just that ache alone becomes the balm we didn't know we needed. And so I wake up, often feeling the weight of longing in my chest. I write down pieces of my dreams, trying to catch the essence of what it means to reconcile love with loss, the act of remembering and letting go entwined like the vines of our family tree. Letters to Mom. Perhaps they will never reach her, but here, within these pages, I find solace in the discovery that the connection continues. It stretches beyond the physical. This love is a bridge that defies all distance. To any of you who might find these words, whether you're far from your own sense of home or navigating the aching absence of a loved one, know that it's okay to carry those letters in your heart. It's okay to embrace the silence that fills the spaces between us. You might discover, too, that in the dreaming, in the remembering, a new kind of home can be built, one where love whispers like the wind, gently reminding us that we are never truly alone. With each word I write, I find a piece of my heart stitching itself back together. I realize now that home is not merely a destination. It's an ongoing journey, an emotional landscape where my mother and I can always meet. Until we meet in memory, I will hold her close, crafting letters that will never be sent but are necessary for my healing. Love never leaves. It simply transforms into something more profound, wrapping around us like a gentle embrace. What I tell you now, if I had a moment, just a single moment to speak to you, the words would tumble out like a spring brook, bubbling with unspoken truths and aching with the weight of what never was. I tell you, Mom, that my life without you resembles a painting where only half the canvas is filled. The colors are vivid and the strokes bold, yet, in the empty spaces, a longing resides, echoing the laughter and conversations we never had. I tell you how I find myself tracing the lines of those memories we shared, the little moments that felt insignificant at the time. I would pull you into my life, paint it with the stories of adventures that bear your absence like a shadow. How I moved to a new city with the hope of discovering myself anew, only to find that your absence pressed heavier against my heart in every corner. I would recount the times when I yearned to hear your voice, the warmth of your laughter, but I was met only with the silence that lingers in my room. Whenever I cook, I'd reach for a recipe you made me, close my eyes, and seek the essence of your touch. It's strange, isn't it? How a simple dish can ignite torrents of memories, your hands deftly mixing ingredients while humming my favorite song. If only I could tell you that food is my love language, and every simmering pot carries whispers of our shared moments. I wish I could ask you about your past, the dreams you let slip through your fingers, and all the what-ifs that danced in the corners of your mind. There's something profound in understanding that you were a girl once too, someone who made choices, who struggled with fears, and who probably longed for her own mother's embrace. What would it have meant for us to reconcile those stories? I can only imagine the warmth in hearing your fears and dreams reflected back, knowing that we were not so different after all. When stress consumes my days and the weight of adulting feels like a heavy coat I can't take off, I find myself seeking solace in what you would say. Would you chide me for worrying too much? Or wrap your arms around me and let me vent about the things that seem so trivial now? Just letting me cry without fixing anything would be enough. I miss those comforting silences where warmth wrapped us both in its embrace. I tell you that forgiveness has been my silent companion, a bittersweet acceptance of the imperfections that colored our relationship. I didn't always know how to express the love I felt, hidden behind layers of expectation and unspoken grievances. So often I wanted to reach out, but fear clenched my heart, stifling my voice. It's a weight I have carried, and I can only hope you've found peace, knowing that I have forgiven you for all the words left unsaid, and for times when love seemed lost in translation. In my dreams, we meet, weaving memories like threads that connect eras long past. I whisper gentle goodnights and share secrets that float unspoken in the silence between us. Could it be that in those moments, time freezes, and our souls dance in ways mere words cannot capture? I hold on to this hope, that in those dreams, you see me too, understand me beyond the limitations of our flesh. Wouldn't that be something? A tender reunion crafted in the expanse of our memories, where I seek your approval, not because I need it, but because it would make those empty spaces overflow with warmth. I reflect on mornings spent slumped on our faded couch, sipping tea, both of us sharing the mundane tales of our day. I miss your smile when I recounted the most trivial of mishaps, your laughter ringing in the air like a familiar tune. Those mornings seemed so slow and easy, a small escape where everything felt exactly as it should be. Their absence is deafening now, echoing the truth that I've grown into an adult, yet still crave the simplicity of those moments. But I know now that silence holds its own kind of strength. Each unspoken thought, every word left hanging in the air carries love. It holds a tenderness that time can't erase. You taught me that silence can also speak volumes, and from there, I've learned to thread my emotions into words, to find healing in my own story, to share the letters I never sent. So, if ever you'd return to me in the ways I wish for, I'd plant a garden of words nurtured by love and forgiveness, ready for you to stroll through, to glimpse into the life I have made. In all honesty, I'd remind you that love never truly leaves us. It follows us around, quietly whispering through the laughter of friends, in the rustling of leaves, and all the quiet mornings we miss. I keep writing, crafting these letters in hopes they will someday reach you, become the bridge that reconnects our hearts. And maybe, just maybe, when we meet in memory, you'll finally understand every word I found courage to say. I carry you in my quiet. It's strange how silence can become a sanctuary. In those moments of solitude, I feel your presence more vividly than in the cacophony of our shared past. I find myself grasping at strands of memory, weaving them together like a tapestry that reflects a life lived, a love felt, and words left unspoken. Sometimes, I close my eyes and drift back to those fading afternoons. Do you remember the sun filtering through the kitchen window, illuminating the dust motes? Tiny little galaxies swirling in the light? We'd share stories then, not always with words, but with the warmth of a shared look or the comfort of a gentle touch. It's within those quiet exchanges that I felt you most deeply, when I sensed the unspoken connections that threaded our lives together. But grief, oh how it has a way of pulling at those threads, unraveling what was stitched so carefully. One moment, I could hear your laugh echoing through our home. The next, it was replaced by the hollow quiet of absence. You taught me how to embrace the beauty of silence, yet here I am, drowning in it, the paradox of a love that now seems too big, too vast for words. I carry you in the quiet, in those seemingly mundane moments that blossom into profound reflections. There's a stubbornness to this heartache, a bittersweet tenderness that lingers like an unfinished melody. In the depths of my being, I know that we are bound not just by the moments we shared, but by the unvoiced hopes and dreams hanging in the air between us. Each day unfolds in layers, a new echo of you. I find you among the mundane, in the aroma of freshly brewed coffee, the rustle of autumn leaves underfoot, and the way the evening light stretches across the horizon. I carry you in the quiet of my thoughts, in the spaces where words fail yet feelings remain imprinted against my soul. Do you see me as I venture into the world? Perhaps in those fleeting moments of beauty, in the laughter of strangers, or the softness of a loved one's embrace, there's a whisper of your guidance. I reach for you as I would a star in an ink-black sky, illuminating the night with hope and memory. Each wish, a letter unsent, carrying with it all the things I never had the courage to say. Like the tides, my emotions ebb and flow. Moments of grief recede only to be met with unexpected waves of warmth. And within that rhythm, I realize you are not lost but rather transformed. You've shifted from presence to memory, a glowing ember forever tucked into the corners of my heart, providing warmth when the evenings grow long and lonely. I sit down often to write, pouring out the words that simmer under the surface. They are tangled, messy, like reflections in water. You'll never read these letters, and yet they become my lifeline. Each phrase is an outstretched hand, seeking to touch the intangible reality of your spirit. Some days, the writing flows like a river. Others, it crumbles like dry leaves underfoot. But the act of creating is cathartic. It reveals the threads of love still strung between us. I want you to know that I am trying to bridge the chasm your absence has carved in my being. There is healing in the ink, in the act of choosing to speak the unspoken. Forgiveness also finds its place here. It whispers through my quiet moments, reminding me that it's okay to be imperfect, to have unresolved feelings. The remorse that lingers isn't for the words left unspoken, but for the silence that fell so heavily between us. In our final years, I wanted to reach out, to ask so many questions, but I hesitated. The words caught in my throat like a tightly knotted ribbon. I let them slip away as to the time that I thought we still had. But now, even in remembrance, I find solace in the fact that our bond transcends any misunderstandings. Love has a soft glow that persistently shines through the shadows, reminding me that sometimes, what matters most are the quiet moments of connection. That can be enough. I carry you in my quiet, and in that gentle embrace of stillness, I find a way to honor what we had. I find you in every heartfelt whisper, every note of forgiveness sprinkled across the pages of my life. I know we are never truly apart. You are the silent heartbeat that echoes through my days, guiding me, loving me even from afar. So, I will continue to write, to speak to you in these letters of love until we meet again, until memory weaves our lives together once more. Each word a tribute, each pause an acknowledgement of everything we shared, an eternal echo of the closeness that once was and always will be. The words I finally said. Standing in the room, the faint scent of lavender clinging to the air like a soft whisper, I felt the surrounding silence pressing against me, heavy and poignant. Just a few paces from the frosted window, I caught my own reflection, a young woman with a heart full of words, yet the mouth that dared to speak them had long been sealed. To say these words, the words I finally said, felt like a release, a spark in the kind of darkness that only those living in unexpressed love can know. "Mom," I began, whispering it out loud, feeling the weight of the syllables on my tongue. The room seemed to hold me, wrapping around my shoulders like her familiar embrace. No, she wasn't physically here, but in this space, I could conjure her. I could summon her warmth, her laughter, her gentle guidance. Who knew that tapping into memory could open channels of communication long closed? I told her about the times I felt invisible, how I hesitated to share my joys, thinking they would be garbled in the silence that hung between us. Those fragile moments when both our hearts lay bare, longing for connection, yet tethered by unspoken stories. It felt jubilant and raw, like the first breath after a good cry, the kind that rattles through your very bones. I said thank you, a phrase that always felt small yet held immense weight. I thanked her for filling my life with stories, even if our family didn't translate that into words. We spoke through the quiet mornings and the playful teasing. Yet, I'd never expanded on the love compressed in those moments. It took years to learn that thanks could weave through the gaps of silence, to transform it into something vibrant. And then I went deeper. Do you remember the summers filled with laughter by the shore? I imagined us like we were then, barefoot and free, running into the waves, little droplets of joy flinging about with glee. I wanted her to hear the unuttered prayers in those moments, the ones where I desperately wished to be closer to her, to find a way to break the ice that lingered between our hearts. Each wave crashed against the shore as if turning my memories over and over, reshaping them into something softer, perhaps a little more forgiving. With every breath, I felt the tension begin to melt, allowing my voice to rise in power, to hold on to truths I didn't dare share during our times together. I remember how I often tucked my feelings away, how silence felt safer than the possibility of rejection. Not wanting to burden her with my struggles, masking them as trivial. "I see now, Mom," I said slowly, the words heavy with revelation. "Your silence was never indifference. It was a shield, a protector. That's the paradox of love and silence, how it can elegantly coat the edges of your heart while also striking a chime of longing that echoes through the years." I hoped she would catch these half-whispers and finally understand my tangled perceptions. I spoke about the days when sadness knocked at my door, uninvited yet persistent. You never saw what I hid, the struggles that felt like a tidal wave crashing upon me, but I was yearning for your presence, your advice. I realized now that there was so much you wanted to say, too. I conjured up the echoes of our conversations, the shivers of pride and concern lacing through her voice. In this dance of memories, my heart swelled every time I spoke her name. Mom. Each utterance was a thread unspooling the fabric of our bond. I filled the air with everything I had held back, the sorrow, the admiration, the never-ending hope. In these confessions, heavy and liberating, I began to feel her spirit responding, cradling my heart just as she had many years ago. But some words are hardest to unveil. I shared with her my fears and regrets, the moments where I yearned to say, "I love you." I was too afraid, too uncertain about whether those words were powerful enough to breach the walls we'd built. Just like that, I acknowledged my hesitation, the discomfort that often paralyzed us both. "I didn't always get it right," I said, each syllable carrying the weight of unspoken apologies. I opened the floodgates to all those times I wished I'd reached out, wished we'd embraced more fiercely, laughed a bit harder, cried a little longer. It was a promise to not let fear intercept love ever again, to let words flow freely like a perennial river. The more I spoke, the lighter my heart felt, a strange sense of surrender mixed with joy. I could feel the healing beginning, like the gentle kiss of dawn chasing away the shadows. I envisioned us standing together in the twilight, hand in hand, whispering sweet nothings until we both laughed. Maybe, I reflected softly, this is the most beautiful part of loss, finding ways to reclaim love even after the physical absence. Each confession poured out from depths I didn't know could overflow, and with every spoken word, I was silently pulling her back into my life. She was not just a memory, but a force, illuminating my path ahead. Words, after all, are a bridge. They connect the living to the lost, and in that connection, healing flourishes. So I kept writing, until every moment felt captured, until she was present in every metaphor, every line. Until we meet in memory, Mom, let these words breathe life into the silence. And somehow, within that sacred space, it felt like she could finally hear me. Conclusion. As we close this chapter, this collection of whispers and heartbeats, let's take a moment to breathe in the essence of what we've shared. The journey through these letters wasn't just about the ink on paper. It was a pilgrimage deep into the fabric of our shared experiences, our unspoken desires, and our raw, aching love. Here are a few key takeaways that resonate deeply, like echoes in a quiet room. Silence holds power. We've explored how silence, often misconstrued as absence, can actually nurture a unique form of love. It's in these unvoiced conversations with our mothers, those moments where words felt too inadequate, that we sometimes find the deepest connections. Words left unsaid. Consider the letters you haven't penned yet, the frank truths, the dreams shared only in the realm of your imagination. Allow yourself to write them, whether on paper or in your heart. This act of expression is where healing begins. The journey of forgiveness. With every word you write, there lies the possibility of forgiveness. Not just for our mothers, but for ourselves. Letting go of past grievances is as much about opening a door as it is laying down a burden. Mother, child bond beyond time. Remember, love doesn't dissipate. It transcends time and space. The connection to your mother, whether she's near or has ascended, remains. Cultivating that bond can bring comfort like a warm embrace on a cold day. Embrace the volatility of emotion. Writing can bring forth a storm of feelings, joy, grief, nostalgia, and everything in between. Let yourself feel these emotions. They are the colors of your experience, painting the canvas of your memories with vibrancy. Now, what steps can you take moving forward? Here are a few gentle nudges. Write your own letters. Grab a journal, or even a napkin, and begin to write. Pour out your feelings, your confessions, your hopes. Whether you ever send them or not, the act itself is cathartic and illuminating. Create a ritual. Dedicate a time or space in your life. Maybe it's a park bench where you sit and reflect, or a cozy corner in your home where you light a candle and simply be. This is your time to connect with those feelings, and perhaps with your mother's spirit, too. Connect with others. Seek out support groups or community gatherings that focus on grief or mother-child relationships. Sharing stories with others can foster understanding, and you might discover that you are not alone in this journey. Be open to signs. Remain mindful of moments that feel serendipitous or poignant. A song, a lingering scent of her perfume, a shared laugh from an unexpected story. These can be connections from her spirit, gentle reminders that love is still present. Express yourself. Whenever you feel compelled, share your experience with friends or family. You might inspire them to explore their own unspoken words, creating an environment where emotional honesty flourishes. In closing, dear reader, remember this: you have the pen. You hold the power to connect with your feelings, embrace your memories, and turn your silence into a symphony. As you step away from these pages, carry them in your heart. Take a breath and begin anew.